What is going on, ladies and gentlemen of the tribe, and welcome back to another Galaxy of Heroes video. That was really over the top, wasn't it? Another Galaxy of Heroes video with me, your bold boy Scribe. How the devil are we all doing? I think you're looking beautiful today. I'm feeling good. Or it could just be the fact that I've had a really nice cup of tea in my flowery mug, and that makes everything a little bit better, doesn't it? Yes, darling, please. Anyway, so we noticed something on the stream last night, and it could be nothing. Have you got your tinfoil hat put to one side, tribe? Because you might need it for this next little bit of speculation. And you can say that I'm absolutely just making stuff up. But stuff is in the game. It's in the game. Literally, it's there. It's there. You can see it. And it's worrying. Because is CG making a bit of a tactical shift in the new era to content that might not sit particularly well with the player base? Are we getting Acolyte error next? So in particular, tribe, I'm looking at Kelnaka. He was the Jedi Wookiee that was largely underplayed in the Acolyte TV show, which managed to hit the fan base of Star Wars as a broad audience, kind of like if somebody just took a dump in your breakfast. You know, people were not particularly impressed with the Acolyte. And for me personally, like as a kid that grew up in the 90s and I watched amazing pop culture genre-defining films like The Matrix, and they tease me with Carrie-Anne Moss as a Jedi, and then literally #spoilers kill her in the first 5 minutes. I felt very disappointed with. And don't get me wrong, the Acolyte has far more broader issues than just the fact that you try and kill off Trinity, Jedi Trinity, in the starting 5 minutes when it was made to look like she was going to play a bit more of an important role. And I know she appeared in later episodes in flashbacks and stuff like that, but the point stands is I wanted to see Jedi Trinity. I wanted her to be a badass. I wanted her to be cool, and they ruined my day. Now, why are you asking, I wonder, do I think that Kelnaka is coming in the next era, and why do I think that we are most likely potentially going to get at least some Acolyte content? Well, it was because we did our first Battle of Conquest yesterday, and there was something rather surprising about the background that we were fighting on, the game scene that we were playing on. Let's have a look, shall we? So this was me in Conquest last night. We're about to do GAC, and I thought, oh, quick, I better spend my Conquest energy so that I can, you know, not be capped out on Conquest energy while I do my GAC. Now, this background, this is a brand new field map. And this field map is 100% Kelnaka's home from the Acolyte, where we first get introduced to the stranger in his deadliest nature. You know, this is where he murders a bunch of Jedi. He murders Kelnaka as well. And I'm not making stuff up. Look, if I grab you a picture of Kelnaka's home. So this here is literally a still from the Acolyte. This is where Kelnaka lives. It's where he gets murdered off screen for some reason, because they didn't want to kill him on screen. I don't understand why they didn't want to do a stranger versus Kelnaka fight. That would have been kind of awesome. And you might say, oh, Scribe, that looks similar, but it's not actually. It is though. It is though. Look, we can make some very clear distinctions here. So in particular, look at this thing over here. Look at this. I don't know what it is, some sort of generator, right? And then let's go back over here and let's take a look right there. You see that? That is 100% the same generator. Look at this light in the background, this like 3-pillar light on a weird thing over here. That is exactly the same as this light over here, 3 pillars, a little light thing. Yeah, the door is a little bit different, but it's like foliage and it's trees. You've got this tree over here, which sort of splits in a bridge, and it's got this dark background here. And we can see that literally there. You see, you've got the tree that splits in half. It's got the generator in front, even though in the other picture, the generator is like to the right of it and stuff like that. But this is like, there's no arguing. That is 100% Kelnaka's home. Now, I know that just because we've got a background doesn't necessarily mean that we are going to be getting Kelnaka in the game. It does not necessarily mean that we're going to get any sort of Acolyte content in the game. And it could, in fact, just be that there might be a boss later on in Conquest that maybe has the Stranger in it, because we just unlocked the Stranger, right? If we've just unlocked the Stranger, you'd think he would have some sort of background here, you know, like maybe we'll fight a boss on the Stranger, right? Right here, we have got screen grabs from all of the sector bosses that the people at swago.gg have got. I haven't progressed. I'm in like Sector 2, end of Sector 2 or something like that on my main account. I will be getting out Conquest video guides as soon as possible. Don't you worry, guys. But you can see Sector 1 boss is JTR. The end boss over here looks like... Oh, no, sorry. That's the mid boss is Hux, and the mid sector boss is JTR. And then we've got Sector 2 over here. Mid sector boss is Bo-Katan Mandalore. And then it's DTMG. Neither of those really have got any application to Kelnaka's planet. Then we've got Palpatine, and it goes to Queen Amidala in Sector 3. Sector 4 is Balin, and then it goes over to Sia Junda with a really weird team, like Han and Zori Bliss. It's kind of a strange setup there. Then we've got lovely Satil Shan as the mid-sector. I don't know why she's not the end sector boss. Looks like she's the mid-sector boss there for Sector 5 with Juhani and the standard Jedi lineup. Is she actually short-manning that? That's quite interesting. And then the end sector boss is Malgus. I wonder if they're going to give us a loaned... Do they give you a loaned Satil Shan for that battle? That would be kind of cool. But what I'm trying to say is none of those are actually anything to do with the Stranger, right? Absolutely none of those battles have got anything to do with the Stranger or Acolyte content in general. So why do we have a background map? Why do we have a background map that is very clearly for Kelnaka? Now, we can look at some other stuff, like... I'm not completely going crazy here, but if we check out error units and we go to Yoda and Chewie, this is a Jedi Wookiee, right? And let's be honest, Tarful and the Wookiees, generally speaking, not a great team, right? But Wookiee Jedi gain Masters training at the end of battle. He is the only one. So there would be maybe a little bit more synergy because he was both a Wookiee and a Jedi. He would probably go on the Wookiee team because the Wookiee team is just kind of trash in general. So there is a little bit of synergy here, right? A little bit. He would get Jedi's Masters training. Now, I know that in Grand Arena, it's going to be passing it anyway. They're going to be gaining Masters training to the end of battle, but this would at least let it apply in TW or in TB or stuff like that, right? So there's like just a little bit of extra synergy, and it makes me wonder about what other potential characters we could actually get from the Acolyte that might make sense to make this more of a broader era once again. Because when we look at these units, and I know this was the era of the anniversary and all that, right? So it was going to celebrate and uplift old teams like Luke going into, well, he's going to be leading his old school rebel team, basically. IG-90 because we had IG-88 before. He's going to go and lift up Afra. Then we got Asajj Ventress because Asajj was apparently one of the early characters. And then Chewbacca and Yoda, Clone Wars Chewie, one of the first characters we had in the game. You get the picture. What if we had an Acolyte era and it had stuff like Kelnaka to lift up Wookiees once again? Maybe we would get Jedi Master Sol. Is he going to go ahead and maybe operate as the Jedi that goes in the Stranger's comp? I doubt it, but we have seen weirder things. When you look at like a typical Sia Junda team, that team makes no frickin' sense either, right? If you think about it, you've got Sia Junda, you throw in Cal. That makes sense. But then you go ahead and you throw in like Malicos into the team, wherever he is. Sorry, this isn't my main account, this is my alt account. You throw in Malicos. Why does Malicos work with Sia Junda when he was quite literally a villain in the game? He was a villain. He was an antagonist to our protagonists, right? So this team doesn't really make sense. So can we argue that in a Stranger comp, we might be getting ourselves a Sol that works with it? Or maybe we are going to get an Osha or a May. Like, I'm not saying I want this, guys. I actually don't. I think I've made my position quite clear on Acolyte content. I thought that they would be very, very brave if they're trying to push down that route. And we might not actually get it. We might not actually get it. And maybe CG just wanted to give us some random Kelnaka house. I doubt it. I doubt it. It does make me feel a little bit strange as well when you look at like the Stranger's comp. Because the Stranger has got the Stranger, he's got Maul. Now, Maul is specifically designed to work with the Stranger, although he can, in my opinion, probably work quite well under a Sia Junda team. Then Starkiller is literally specifically designed. So that's two unaligned dark side Force users that they need to have in the team. You could have an unaligned light side Force user, which could well be someone like Osha or May, but neither of those, well, I mean, you can argue they could be like neutral. Maybe light, maybe dark. It's kind of confusing. But the final position for the Jedi, like, yes, you could have Jedi Master Sol. You could, but he doesn't, like, it could work long term because the characters that Stranger is stealing currently are like Barriss and Cal. Cal already belongs to Seer Junda, so you don't really want him being stolen. And Barriss does work very well in a raid team, but again, why are we using like Barriss when we could have new units to come to the Stranger team? And I'm not saying it needs any more power either, but I'm just thinking there are units that they could release from the Acolyte that could fit into teams and still make it quite broad. I don't know, guys. I don't know. Have I got that tinfoil hat on just a little bit tight? If so, why do you think that they made a Kelnaka map? Because there are any number of things that they could have done for the Stranger, right? They could have done the cave in which he lives in, you know? They could have done that. They could have done, you know, the Power of Many place. Oh my god, are we going to get the Dathomir Witches? They're not Dathomir Witches, the Witches. The Power of Many is coming to Galaxy of Heroes! I'm talking myself into my own tinfoil hat theory right now. Oh my god. Oh dear me. What do you think, tribe? Answers on a postcard. Comment section down below. Hit that like button before you go. And please, if you haven't subscribed already, do me a favour. Do me a favour. Subscribe, and I'll see you all in the very next video. Peace out, and may the Force be with you.